Welcome to Networking RX, a podcast devoted to helping business professionals like you enhance your networking skills in order to become more proficient giving and receiving quality business referrals and improving the overall quality of your life and the lives of those around you. The Networking RX podcast is a production of AmSpirit Business Connections, an organization whose mission is to empower business success through networking.
Welcome to the Networking RX podcast. I'm your host, Frank Agan, founder and president of AmSpirit Business Connections. I do a lot of reading. I do a lot of listening to other podcasts. I kind of keep my ear to the ground of other things that are going on out there. Always looking to learn, always looking for new material, always looking for things I can use to inspire other people. And I find from time to time that I will pull back because I'm like, yeah, everybody knows that. And then I find when I share things that I think are kind of mundane and everybody knows, I get these light bulb moments in other people. They're just, wow, I didn't realize that. It's insightful to them. And I need to, something I need to work on. I need to continue to remember that not everybody, just because I'm at a place in time doesn't mean other people are at that same place in time. They may be further ahead in other areas, but there are things that I have that I come across that, and my point is I shouldn't be shy of sharing because there's always somebody out there who either needs the lesson or needs the reminder. And the people who come to think that, well, ho-hum, I already know that, I don't know, maybe it's, they can just tune me out for that, but stay tuned because there might be something for you. Not everything I have is for everybody, and not everything I say is for you, but there are things that I will come across that certainly will be worthwhile. With that build up, I follow Bob Burg. If people are familiar with Bob Burg, he's the author, one of the co-authors of the Gogiver, along with John David Mann. And that was a book that has been out for years, and it's a great book. In fact, I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was kind of sharing my philosophy, and they said, "Well, yeah, reminds me of the Gogiver." I said, "Oh, absolutely, I love that book," and it was just kind of interesting that they had kind of put together a book club. This is within an AmSpirit Business Connections chapter. And I had been very familiar with the book for years, and I know Bob well enough to shoot him an email, and he knows me. I don't want to go so far as say, hey, we're friends or anything like that. I think people overreach with those sorts of things. But anyhow, I do follow Bob, and I'm part of his Gogiver community and subscribe to a lot of the things that he has, and he puts out some insightful things. And again, they're not necessarily things that are epiphanies for me, but they're often great reminders. And with everything coming at us these days, great reminders are very useful. I'm trying to think of maybe it was Zig Ziglar who basically talked about motivation or just learning, and analogize it to bathing every day. You don't just we bathe every day, we brush our teeth every day, we do these things every day. We ought to do the things to motivate us as well. You can't just say, well, I read that once and I'm done, I've got it all, I'm set. It's it's a constant thing, and you put positive things in your mind and they atrophy. They're overwritten by other things that are happening out there. So anyhow, I'm prone to follow what Bob has to say. Recently, he put out he's got this daily impact email that comes out, and I will put a link to it in the show notes because Bob has things that you can buy. He's got programs I subscribe that may or may not be for you. I find a lot of value in it. I'm meeting a lot of great people, but that may or may not be for you, and we all only have so much money, and you need to make a determination as to where your money goes. And so I'm not pushing any of that, but he does. Bob is very gracious with his time, and he's very gracious with his insight, and he puts out it's called a daily impact email that you can subscribe to for free, and just leave it at that. But one of the ones that he put out there was entitled "The Key That Unlocks Every Human Door," and the word "humans" in parentheses. But what he talks about in here, and I'll quote part of it and certainly make some commentary. He starts off by saying, quote, "Want to ensure that everyone you approach is open to you and your ideas as much as possible," end quote. The answer to that is sure. That's almost a rhetorical question. Of course, everybody, we we want people to give us their attention. We want them to be open to the ideas that we have. Otherwise, why are we saying things? It's always a lonely feeling when you're saying something and you feel like nobody's listening to you. And I think we all have those moments in groups where you start a sentence and something interrupts and you just are kind of sitting there. Anyhow, that's a whole nother conversation. But what he talks about is, putting the odds in your favor, and the key to making people open to you and your ideas is what he calls the warm, genuine, authentic smile. He talks about using that to put the odds in your favor. And there's a lot of merit in that, whether you're, as he cites in here, you're dealing with bureaucrats at City Hall, customer service, a sales prospect, family members. A smile really dials people in. It's just one of those things. And he makes a statement in here. Quote, "Your smile doesn't change them; it changes you, and that's what changes them and causes them to see you as an ally, as a friend, as a person they want to please." End quote. And there's a lot of truth to that. There's a lot of truth to that because, if you come at somebody with a scowl, they're going to be somewhat, they're going to be on guard, right? They're going to be on guard that something's coming, and that wall goes up, and they're going to be holding back. But the smile really kind of opens the door to a relationship, even if the relationship is only, as I referred to in an earlier podcast, a 10-second relationship, where it's just a quick, "Hey, how's your day going?" We want people to, people to be open to us and give us the benefit of the doubt to the extent possible. Now, a smile doesn't guarantee that necessarily, because we run into people, and when we run into them, they're all at all different stages. You could run into somebody who could be having a good day, and your smile just makes it better. And then you could be running into somebody who's having a really bad day, and the smile does nothing but aggravate them. It's not a perfect thing, and Bob's certainly not suggesting that. But as he says early on, it puts the odds powerfully in your favor, which is his little quote in here. And I think that's true. All things being equal, a smile, you're going to be much better off. So any situation you come into, a smile is going to make you that much better off. In fact, in his Daily Impact email I'm referring to here, he shares about his father, and he indicates that one of his father's greatest strengths and a major reason for his success was just his people skills. And he cites his father's ability to always bring forth a smile and just make people want to deal with him. Bob also puts an exercise in here to just encourage you to remember to put a genuine smile on your face. And he says here, quote, "If that doesn't come naturally to you, no sweat. Simply think of something which brings you joy and let your smile reflect that joy. Don't worry, soon it becomes a habit." And I think there's a lot of truth to that. There are people out there who just have a wonderful ability to see the positive in lots and lots of things. So, smile. It'll make you more likable. It'll make you more approachable. But the flip side of this I want to kind of get into was something that I read. There's another publication that I get, emails I get daily. It's called Psyblog, Psyblog. And it's got information on scientific studies out there, psychological scientific studies that were out there. And there was one that said, talked about the effects of smiling. And everybody thinks that the common belief is that a smile makes you appear younger, but the empirical finding that they have through these studies is, and this was in the bulletin of psychometric bulletin review in 2018. At any rate, what they found is that actually a smile makes you appear older. Now, is that a bad thing? I think I always joke about it. There's a point in people's lives where people are it's like a day where they're happy with their age and their appearance. Every time before then they wish they looked older, and every time after that they wish they appeared younger. And I think this is, for the most part, there's a difference between looking older and looking old, right? I think there's definitely a difference between those two. And I know that there's been a time in my professional career where I did want to appear older. I did want to appear like I belonged, and I didn't want to seem like that young kid, because people don't necessarily take you as serious. And so if you're in that age group, understand that a smile can help not only make you more approachable, but it can also add a couple years to your life as opposed to just having a neutral face. And if you're beyond that and don't want to look older, I guess my response is smile anyways. I think you're much better off to be approachable than appearing young. And get over yourself. Your gray hair is giving you away anyway, so what's the big deal? We spend so much time trying to look younger, and I think we're far better off, and of course this is just my own conjecture, we're far better off to be approachable than appearing younger. And, but just kind of an interesting little contrast here between smiling and how it really opens doors for us and makes us appear more likable, and the contrast that it might add some perceived age to our appearance. And again, for some that's a great thing. Smile away. The theory is that when you smile, it brings wrinkles on your face, and those wrinkles are hard to discern from, are those smiling wrinkles or those real life wrinkles? And I think smiling, people smile a lot, certainly develop crow's feet, wrinkles at the edges of their eyes much sooner, as opposed to people who just kind of have that stoic look all the time. I would much rather smile. I don't care how old I might appear as a result of that. But I just kind of an interesting contradiction, or not contradiction, but something that you wouldn't expect necessarily, and that people would think that smiling makes people appear younger. And empirical evidence shows that that's not the case. Now, the one thing I will add with respect to this is the smiling and appearing older is really based on look. And what I tend to find is that when you encounter somebody who's smiling and you actually interact with them, that smile and the demeanor that comes along with it really projects them as being younger. So maybe what it's saying is don't smile in pictures. It'll make you look younger. I don't know. We can sit and we can kind of debate these things all day. These are just a couple little insights. One from Bob Berg and his daily impact email, and I'll get that in the show notes. The other from a study that was reported. An excerpt of it was in SciBlog, in the SciBlog newsletter, which is something you can subscribe to, and they have periodic. They come out with things periodically that, for me, are insightful when I'm talking about relationships.
Thanks for joining us on the Networking RX podcast. Please put what you've learned into action today and let us know if you have questions, comments, or ideas for future topics. You can email them to us at podcast@amspirit.com. That's AmSpirit.com. Finally, so you never miss an episode, be sure to subscribe to the Networking RX podcast through iTunes, Overcast, or however you receive your podcasts. Now get out and network with someone.
The Networking RX podcast is the copyright production of AmSpirit Business Connection. All rights reserved.